Our next guest is an incredibly funny man, and you've seen and you've heard him all over America in comedy clubs as well as on television. His appearance last year on our show brought the house down. And you know why? Because he's the best at what he does, making people laugh as hard as humanly possible. I want you to welcome back one of our favorites, Mr. Jeff Allen.
So nice to be back, actually. It's even nicer they dropped the charges and let me come back to this fine studio. So, yeah. Next month, my wife and I have been married 33 years. Thank you. People ask me all the time, how after 30 plus years, how do you keep the romance alive? I said, we don't. Who needs that kind of pressure? Took me 20 years to get Tammy's expectations low enough of me to where I can meet him on a regular basis. Not that we don't try. I mean, we're reading a new book called 5 Love Languages. Dr. Gary Chapman wrote a book called 5 Love Languages. Tammy and I have read that book twice because we haven't seen our love language in there. Apparently, bitterness and sarcasm isn't part of Dr. Gary Chapman's love life. It's all about communication. That's what you hear. It's about communication. You have to learn how your spouse communicates. It takes time. Took me 2 years of marriage to figure out my wife will never tell me to do anything around our home. If she wants me to do something, she'll ask me a question. It's from that question that I got to stand there and figure out what it is she wants me to do. Simple example. Say I leave a pair of my underwear in the middle of the bedroom floor. It's a hypothetical. We all know no man could be that insensitive. But let's just say it happens. That frosts my wife. That's her word when she's angry with me. Jeffrey, that frosts me. If I'm not frosted or I'm driving her up a wall, that's another one. Kids would come in, where's mom? She's up the wall with frostbite, that's all I know. And you won't believe what put her there, boy. It was that pair of underwear in the middle of the bedroom floor. I think you're looking at the most powerful piece of cotton on the planet. So I leave my underwear in the middle of the room, which frosts my wife. Now, would she come to me and say to me, pick those up? That's 3 words, pick those up. Would she say them? No, because that would be simple, direct, and right to the point. And at that moment, we would be communicating at the highest human level, the way God intended it, through language. Tammy looks at me, looks at my underwear, and then asks, are those yours? Well, I sure hope they are, otherwise I got a few questions of my own. What do you want? That's the only question a man has for his wife. What do you want? Quit talking in code and tell me what you want. Many a night I walked around my home with a coat hanger strapped to my skull. My kids are going, what are you doing, Dad? I'm trying to divine what your mother wants. There's got to be a signal in this house somewhere. My favorite question, we weren't even married 3 months, and this is my favorite question. I'm leaving the house. I have golf clubs on my shoulder, golf shoes in my hand. And every married person in America knows what she asked me. Where are you going? I was only married a few months. I didn't know any better. I said, I'm going bowling, Columbo. You know. Well, if you're taking notes, that would be the wrong answer. 2 hours later, I was still in my living room. Just tell me what it is about, please, baby. You know what it's about? It's about the right answer. It's knowing why your beautiful, intelligent wife would ask such a banal question. I know better today. If I'm leaving the house today with golf clubs and Tammy says, where are you going? Oh, I'm gonna put these in the trunk and I'm gonna come back and mow the lawn. See, my parents had their own love language. My parents were married 57 years before my mother passed away. And they spoke their own language. That last Christmas, we knew would be Mom's last. She was going through ovarian cancer. We knew she would make another year. And she was sitting on the couch doing her crochet. The kids were on the floor watching a Christmas movie and stuff. My dad was in his chair. And then out of nowhere, my father starts serenading my mother in their special love language. My mother didn't miss a beat. She puts down the crochet, she goes into the kitchen, comes back 10 minutes later with 2 hot dogs and a soda pop for her husband. How cool is that? So that night, I'm laying in bed with my wife, and I ask her, did you see that today between my parents? She goes, what? That whole thing with my parents? She goes, I did. And I go, you think we'll ever get there, you and me? Tammy says, shoot me if we do. You start hocking hairballs at me like that, it's over. That was one of the most vile, disgusting things I've ever seen in public. I almost blew my dinner all over our kid's head. You guys have been great. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jeff, what I love about your humor is that we can all see it, and we've lived too much of it.
It's cheaper than therapy, that's all I know. Yeah, I got to tell you, before we go anywhere, that your green room, the food in there is amazing. Donuts. Are you kidding me? Donuts in this day and age. No, we had food when we were growing up. We had food. That's what we had, food. And we ate it because kids were starving in China. That's all you knew. You're starving in China, you eat it. And there's no correlation, just... And my father used to give us what we called man food, with sardines in a can, disgusting stuff.
That is disgusting.
It is, and he'd go and put hair on your chest. I'm 8 years old, but I thought, well, okay, that's a good thing. And he says, every man wants hair on his chest. So who knew in the 21st century every American male would be waxing all the hair off his body? I'm not making this up. So a year ago, Tammy comes to me and she says, I want you to look into the waxing thing. I think it would look sexy. Well, 30 plus years of marriage, if your wife says something's gonna look sexy, I'll give it a shot. Anything that can move that motor, I will. So I did. I'm not making this up. She leaves town, and I decide I'm gonna surprise her. So I go to get waxed. That first rip, I let out a sound. I know only dogs heard it. Only dogs. I mean, nothing came out. It was like, and I was gonna tell her, stop, not another one. And I looked in the mirror, and it was this strip of bare skin amongst like all these weeds, So anyway, I figured, all right, I gotta go through it. And I said, just do it. She's like, and I'm dying. I'm crying. I'm like, I know she's thinking, you men. I go, no, I'm sorry. But so anyway, I'm pink. I get done, it's this raw pink. I look like a big piece of bazooka bubble gum, which, all I kept thinking was, she'll think this is sexy. So apparently my wife thinks bubblegum is sexy. So anyway, I surprise her. She comes home, I got a shirt on, I go into the bathroom, I take the shirt off, and I'm wearing some shorts, and I walk out. And it took her a couple seconds. She goes, oh my goodness, what did you do? I said, I got waxed. You said it would be, she goes, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. She says, you look like Patrick from SpongeBob. Which I'm gonna walk out on a limb and think, not a woman on the planet thinks Patrick is sexy. So anyway, the pelt is back.
What a good thing it is. Jeff, the comedy tour, the America I grew up in. When I think of that, I'm thinking about an America that we just don't even know exists anymore. I think that's what makes your stuff so funny, is because you're reminding us of a lot of our growing up and the adventures of life. So when you go out there, do you have people that say, man, I hadn't thought about those things since I was a kid?
And what's interesting is I slept through the change. I just kind of woke up when my granddaughters, I took her to the park. The slide is 6 feet high, made out of plastic. And I go, this isn't a slide. She'd go 4 inches and stop, 4 inches and stop, 4 inches. That's a scoot, that's not a slide. And she's like, wee, Papa, wee, Papa, wee, Papa. And I get home, I told Tammy, we had a 6-story high, solid steel. Maybe July would hit a temperature of 285 degrees. I mean, it's glowing red. You lose 2 layers of skin on the way down. Nobody cared. Another layer when you hit the ground, picking gravel out of your thigh, And now it's wee, Papa, wee, Papa. And of course, I went to shove her. I wanted to shove my granddaughter so she could slide. And as soon as I put my hand on her back, I felt 6 iPhones on my back. Go ahead, old man. Yeah, you wanted to be on YouTube. We'll get you out. We're live Facebook right now.
What's wrong with this country? What do you think that has happened to us?
We've lost our sense of humor. We really have.
Yeah.
I mean, the comments I get sometimes on my Facebook page make me laugh. I did a video that went viral on spanking. And who knew that? I did not know. My kids are long grown, and I spanked him when he was 2. He was putting a fork into a light socket, so I didn't think a chat would work, you know. I wouldn't do that. Oh, thank you, wise one. I was, I think I'll take a time out and ponder our chat. So I went, no, bam, and I shared that, and his people were just like appalled, Fans were going, I can't be your fan, you're into child abuse. And I go, all right, again, I slept through it. I didn't know it was bad.
You're doing a lot of corporate events now because so many comedians will not do college campuses anymore. Jerry Seinfeld said he's done with them because everybody gets so offended by everything.
Right.
Is there any hope for us ever getting back where we can laugh at ourselves?
It'll happen. Everything, the pendulum swings. And I can tell you when, because I started comedy in '78. So it was about the mid-'80s, I started noticing some changes in what I could talk about as a, and I finally realized everything I do now is first person and about my life. And I figure if you're going to come at me for that, then I'm not going to worry about it. Just stay out of my life.
Well, I got to tell you, we want you back as often as you will come. We love Jeff Allen around here, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let me just say, if you want to laugh some more with this incredibly funny man, he's also done a bonus specially just for you, and you can watch it as a very special digital exclusive at Huckabee.tv. So head over to Huckabee.tv after the show for more hilarious comedy with Jeff Allen. And don't miss Jeff Allen's The America I Grew Up In comedy tour this summer. Details are online with a lot of other funny stuff to watch and enjoy. That's at JeffAllenComedy.com, JeffAllenComedy.com.